Creamy, smooth, and loaded with lots of nutrients, this uji power recipe is worth trying because it's very filling and delicious. I'm going to give mine a try, and it's just warm. So good. I've topped up with some cinnamon, which also has added in a very nice kick of flavor. Yes. So the recipe is easy, it's simple with very basic ingredients, and the outcome is some delicious uji power. This is how I prepare uji power. So you'll need some arrowroots, and I have mine over here, which I've already peeled because they're usually super muddy. And I have cassava over here, which we're going to be peeling in a few, peanuts, sugar, and milk. So it's going to be a very simple recipe. So because I've already peeled my arrowroots, I'm going to cut into smaller pieces so that it can be easier for me to boil the arrowroots. So I'm going to place in my chopping board and cut into medium sizes, just like this. Transfer to a bowl. Be careful when cutting the arrowroots into smaller pieces because you don't want to chop off your fingers. Next, you're going to be peeling your cassava. So I'll make a straight cut from top to bottom of the skin of cassava. And then I'll run my knife under the skin of the cassava, just like this. And then I'm going to run my finger and peel the cassava. It's going to be very easy once you've lifted up the skin of the cassava from the flesh. And because you've already washed the skin of the cassava, your cassava is not going to be messy at all. But if you happen to notice some dirt, you can clean the cassava under running water. Mine is going to be very clean. When done, I'm going to discard the skin. And then I'm going to be cutting my cassava into half and then into smaller pieces. Be careful as well when cutting up the cassava. Once you're done, you're going to transfer to your bowl with water and arrowroots. When done chopping up your cassava and arrowroots, you'll wash for around 2 times until the water runs a little bit clear. Remember, arrowroots and cassava are quite starchy, so the water is going to be a little cloudy, even if you wash for around 2 times. When your cassava and arrowroots are clean, you're going to move over to your stove top and place a huge pot for boiling your cassava and arrowroots. So I'm going to transfer into my pot. Then I'm going to be adding in water enough to submerge everything. Make sure everything is underwater, and then I'm going to be boiling. That is going to take around 15 to 25 minutes. And to check if the arrowroots and cassava are tender, you're going to run a fork. Once the fork can run through, the cassava and arrowroots are ready. Over here, I have some peanuts, which also I'm going to be adding into my uji power, and also sugar together with milk. It's been around 25 minutes and my arrowroots and cassava are tender. So I'm going to use a skewer. And once my skewer runs through, I'm ready to drain the water. So I'm going to put out the flames and drain. The next step is to blend in your arrowroots, cassava, and peanuts. So over here, I have a blender, which I'm going to be transferring everything into. So carefully, I'm going to place in shake my blender a little bit so that everything can settle in, just like that. Add in 1 cup peanuts and 2 cups of milk. Cover my blender and then I'm going to blend everything until smooth. So this is how my arrowroot, cassava and groundnuts are looking, and as you can see, they're nice and smooth. So the next step is to transfer in the paste into our pot so that we can boil. Add in some sugar to add in a little bit of sweetness, and then we're going to enjoy some delicious uji power. So over high flame, I'm going to transfer into my pot over here, the same pot that I used to boil my arrowroots and cassava. Bring the flames to medium low once everything comes to a boil, and then you're going to add in some sugar. If you notice that your uji power is too thick, you can thin out with some more milk or water, but I would highly recommend you thinning out with some milk so that the consistency can be creamy. Yes. Using a wooden spatula, you're going to stir in the uji power. Add in some sugar. Reduce the flames to low, and then you're going to simmer or cook the uji power for around 2 to 3 minutes. Wow, this is going to be super delicious. So I'm going to reduce the flames to low so that the sugar can absorb into the uji power. Nice. And I made my peanuts just yesterday. Yeah, you're going to check out the video up here or in the description box on how to make homemade stovetop peanuts, which is going to be very easy. It's going to be a very easy recipe. That is what I'm trying to say. After 2 minutes, you're going to check on your uji power, and it's looking super delicious. I'm going to have a taste. Wow, so good. It's so creamy. So I'm going to put out the flames, and then I'm going to be serving myself some uji power. Super excited. So using a ladle, I'm going to scoop out my uji power into my bowl. Definitely worth trying. I love to top up mine with a little bit of cinnamon because the spice is usually warm. So this is a very nice way to start off your day because it's very filling and delicious. I still have some more over here, which I'm going to be enjoying with my family. So I'm going to keep it warm by placing the pot over very low flame so that the uji power can remain warm. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll be trying out the easiest and the simplest uji power recipe ever.